Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really good articulation. I think the way that a lot of people view kind of the duty of happiness that one owes oneself. Yeah, today. So it's just like, but which kind of turns into this like moving around a lot and trying new things and just being very creative and free, seemingly. But I don't know if it I get the sense that it doesn't solve ennui, but it just kind of punts it, and it's like more just another distraction, like another glowing screen to get you beyond it.
Maybe that's the point. Day. Like maybe we're nomads and we can't stay in one place forever anyway, and we have to move on because we have to let some land lie fallow at some point because it can no longer sustain us. So we're nomads emotionally. We gotta drift. We gotta roam. Go new places.
Drift between jobs. Drift between hobbies. Drift between spouses. Also, you think emotionally we're nomads too, or you can't prescribe. It depends on the person, maybe.
I think that one of the problem. I'm not married and neither are you, so we can't speak from direct experience with this, but we can speak from indirect experience or just abstraction. What I hear is that a lot of people find trouble with keeping their marriages fresh, and they end up feeling bored, like you're coming home, eating the same meals, having the same conversations, telling the same stories to the same person over and over again. And what's the prescription? You gotta find some way to keep it fresh. That's what all the people on TV say anyway. You gotta go experience new things with your partner. That's what you were doing in the first place when you initially fell in love. So I think that, like, you can be with the same person and just do new things and stave off that kind of boredom. But it shouldn't be surprising if doing the same things, having the same conversations with the same people over and over again ends up getting boring.
Yeah, that's just the view of reality that you're painting is just one that I for the lack of evidence that we have that that's the way that reality is, I refuse to kind of submit to that low bar of like how good this world is. That reality is something that needs to be like it's a deck that needs to be reshuffled. It's, a set of eyes that need to be changed, or if not changed because I have some weird idea about, monogamy, then like at least like get those eyes in a different context, constantly like moving around. I prefer a sense of reality that like in those eyes there's like, you hear this in songs or whatever, like there's like so much depth that I need to create like continuity and consistency to end like in the same context just to perceive the depth of those eyes, or just like, or I love this industry so much and that I want to stick with it my entire life just to squeeze out of the rag just like one drop of like what is otherwise an unplumbable depth. The world that you're describing, it just seems really shallow. Like I can, like with one girl, like I figured it out that quickly, and I don't know that that's what life is about. I prefer the one that's, and not just because it's preference. I also have like, I don't know, I think just like just common sense. I don't know. You talk to your grandma on how to be happy. It's like there is depth to life.
Yeah, my favorite artist is Aesop Rock, and my favorite game is Dark Souls, which I'm very happy about, by the way, because the remaster version the beta is open this week. So this weekend. So this weekend I'm going to play my favorite game again for the first time in a long time. I'm very excited. The thing that made me so excited the first time playing Dark Souls was that the deeper I looked, the more I saw. There was stuff that had just been hiding in plain sight the entire time, that it felt like the more I explored, the more there was to see, And my favorite, and Aesop Rock is an artist with his lyrical density is extreme. His vocabulary is second to none. And it's really hard to really get what he's saying the first time that you listen to one of his songs. Which means that the 50th time that I listen to one of his songs, I catch a lyric that I had never really heard before, and it's like I'm hearing it for the first time again. So It's the same experience, but it's difficult enough to understand, both the artist and the game, both Aesop Rock and Dark Souls, that you can stick around for a while and you don't lose that sense of novelty because it's constantly showing you new depths to itself.
Yeah.
So I would say the same thing about marriage. It's possible that you meet a person. I mean, you and I have been friends for a long time. I still want to be around you.
Yeah.
You know why that is? Because I can still have new experiences talking to you. I'm thinking about things right now that I've never thought about before. That's why I want to talk to you. Human beings are complex enough, and life is so full of crazy different experiences that there's enough out there that you'll never get bored. But only if you don't catch yourself in these ruts, doing the same thing over, like eating the same meals over and over again was the example I gave before. You're not going to get this crazy new novel experience out of your chicken the 10th time that you cook it the same way. You know, there are some things that don't have a lot of juice in them, and you got to move on to the next one. Other human beings have a lot of juice. You can stick with a lifetime is not enough to really get somebody. Well, maybe some people, but not the people that I've come to love. But forever, if I had 1,000,000 years, well, I don't know, because as long as I was having new experiences, so would they, and they would be changing, and whenever they change, I would see them again with fresh eyes too. So yeah, if you perceive that I'm describing the Earth as shallow, I don't mean to do that. The Earth is full of deep, rich, constantly changing experiences.
I think the difference is, like, I mean, still you're kind of framing it in a vocabulary of experience, which is not wrong, but I think it's just interesting because it highlights your subjecthood. You know, the fact that the objective world is like hitting your subjective sense, and it's an experience for you. Whereas the way I phrased it was like in terms of like those eyes. You know, that's kind of what I said. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know where I would go from here, but I think that the distinction between what I'm saying and what you're saying, it like lies in that kind of distinction in the way that we even phrased it, of like one being kind of tied to the other, one being tied to the self, you know, and my experiences versus like another reality, not just purely as something that I experience. Depth that has value not just because I experience it, but because it's something real in itself. I don't know.
So, like, I'm interested in Dark Souls and Aesop Rock because they change the way that I feel and think. Mm-hmm. It's not like I'm totally interested in them for their own sake. I'm interested in them for what they can do to me.
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm hearing you describe is you're actually interested in the other thing, not just because it makes you feel a certain way, but because of its own merit, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's really true, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
Don't you only care about the divine or whatever as it relates to you?
I believe that it's I agree with you that it's impossible to find this like pure what's it called when you're not focused about it yourself.
A lack of perspective.
Altruism. Pure altruism is impossible. But I think that just those categories are insufficient to describe what I'm saying. It's not like altruism or narcissism. It's like, and I think this is where poets and philosophies get like sort of a mystical language happens. But it's like where like kind of like where the self is kind of absolved, and it doesn't matter that I'm experiencing anymore. My subjecthood, like life, suddenly like ceases to be a video game where it's like just like purely like, okay, I'm definitely here, and the screen is definitely over there, and those are the categories in under which like any experience can happen. It's like union, you know, where one is lost in the other, and in a good way. So that when you're like talking to a person and you're enjoying their experience, like there's that, but that's kind of utilitarian, and it ceases to be that when you understand that person in such a way that you start to invest your own subjecthood in that subject, and you start to care about that subject as if you were in his own eyes, you know. That's the depth that I'm kind of thinking of, and that's not just like another experience of like, well, like that's just another experience that my subjecthood can experience. I think.
But aren't you still like if I see the world from my daughter's eyes, you know, and I see the world as she sees it, then that's still tied to my own experience.
Yeah, I know.
It's just so strange to be lifted from your own perspective and to truly exist for even a moment in someone else's. And that's what love can do, and that's fantastic. But I don't think that you've successfully divorced.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
It's still all about you.